Justine was just mentioning the big controversy brewing after a man kicked off of a U.S. Airways flight for refusing to pull up his sagging pants, and now the NAACP is getting involved.
Yes, and so let's bring in our legal expert, Ivan Golde, to talk about the ins and outs of this case. The NAACP involved saying that it's a racial incident because a week prior, they let a white man fly pretty much in women's underwear.
Yes. Discrimination is the issue, of course. The airline is going to say this, though. Sir, we asked you to pull your pants up. You didn't comply. You were hostile. That put the fear of us and of the airport personnel, the airline personnel. They had fear. They thought this man, if he boarded the plane, may cause a problem. They just asked him a very simple order. Sir, would you please pull up your pants?
Then why didn't you tell the airline? Why didn't you tell the white guy who was wearing women's underwear, basically had nothing else covering it, to change?
Okay.
They'll say.
Again, that's the issue they can bring up. But the airlines, look, I think the airlines will pay this person, this football player, this gentleman something. This is a PR nightmare. The airlines are very competitive. You can go anywhere and fly. And so they may just pay this guy just to keep him quiet, make the case go away. But public safety is the issue at the airport and on the airplane. If someone is resisting, if they're copying an attitude, if they're not being compliant, the airline has the discretion not to let that person board the plane in the name of safety, and that's going to be their argument.
What about the issue of a business, an airline, a business like any other? Do they have the right to refuse service to anyone?
If it involves public safety, it's very discretionary. Now, they cannot discriminate. And remember, after 9/11, there were some issues about they were discriminating because of Arabs, what have you. They would just pull people off the plane, search them. They wouldn't let them go on the trip, wouldn't let them fly. So there's always a discrimination issue. However, when we talk about public safety, that cuts above everything. And if the airline thought that this person, and by the way, he was charged with resisting arrest. He had to post bail. Okay, he was arrested for resisting arrest. The district attorney has not officially charged him. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But there was definitely something. Now, there was a video of this, but the video didn't show everything. There are two sides to every story. When there's public safety, that's when the airline has to put their foot down, and that's what they did in this case. Did they discriminate? Maybe they did.
So what could have happened is if he had pulled up the pants and then turned around and said, discrimination, I'm suing, that would have been better for him.
No, if they said, sir, look, even if they
he should have pulled up the pants.
Daria, if they ask you to do cartwheels at the airport, you do cartwheels at the airport. There have been so many problems at the airport. You're on federal land, federal property. If they ask you to do something, you comply. If you don't comply, then you don't fly. You leave the airport.
His reason was he didn't think it, let's say, was fair, though. He was being told to do this because he was black and he wasn't, that wasn't appropriate.
I'm not saying they did not discriminate. They very well may have discriminated against him. But the issue is if you want to fly from point A to point B, you have to take a little flack. Look, you don't have your same rights. They can search you unreasonably. You go through a metal detector. I would say this gentleman, he very well may have been discriminated against. But look at the controversy. All he had to do was pull up his pants. He could have boarded the plane, and that would have been it. That's the bottom line at the airport. He probably was discriminated against. But then again, the airlines, you don't want someone on the airline who's going to cause a problem.
All right, thank you, Ivan. Well, they have a press conference here coming up at 10 o'clock, so we'll find out if anything happens.